What's going on, everybody? This is Maximilian. I'm finally back after a long, relaxing, explosive 4th of July weekend. And for those of you who don't live in the States, I know some of you live in the UK, some of you may live in Canada, you may live elsewhere, who knows. But the 4th of July is our Independence Day here in the States, so we celebrate by eating way too much and blowing a bunch of stuff up. And I gotta tell you, it's what the Founding Fathers would have wanted. And if any of you listen to Jim Gaffigan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, I was over at my friend's house in the middle of the country, and he had basically a huge front yard of property in the middle of nowhere. So we can just shoot fireworks off all day, and nobody will care. So we got, like $500, I would guess. I have no idea what it cost, but it looked like $500 worth of explosives and fireworks. And we just literally lit stuff up non-stop for 6 hours straight. We made these dubious homemade concoctions, mixing rockets and mortars and little sparkler fountain things and whatever, and it just got really, really ridiculous. And we also had some really, really awesome stuff too, which I'm pretty sure is illegal, so we're not going to get into that. But it was really fun. We cooked out, had a good time, just chilled all night and literally did nothing but eat and blow stuff up. And I've got to tell you, if you've never tried it before, you should try it sometime. Although, try to stay within the bounds of legality, because that's the important part here. It would really suck if somebody got hurt or went to jail. But yeah, nobody got hurt. Well, too bad anyway. We had one where we mounted one of our mortars went in upside down, and a friend of mine got hit with a little piece of plastic. Like, he just got a small bruise. It was no big deal. So that was basically the extent of the injuries for the whole night. So all in all, considering the amount of dangerous explosives we had, we were actually remarkably safe. So yeah, I'm just going to say a little disclaimer here. Kids, do not try anything we tried at home. Always do this with parental supervision, or at least somebody who's an expert in it. Because explosives are dangerous, in case you couldn't tell. Yeah, stuff that goes boom is probably not good to be next to, just for the record. Alright, so if I'm sniffling during the commentary, I apologize. It's because I've been having really bad allergies all day, and for whatever reason, my medication's doing a whole lot of nothing. So my sinuses have been going on the waterworks all day long. Can't stop it, no idea why. I'm just dealing with it. Anywho, we are in the second portion of the Goldenrod radio tower subplot place, whatever, and we have encountered our rival. Finally, a battle this time. It just seems like so much in Silver, you run into your rival, and he's just like, oh, I'm gonna yell at you a little bit, and then I'm gonna run away. See you later. And you never actually get to do anything useful. Well, we finally get to battle him this time. It wasn't like Gary, on the other hand, where every time you saw him, it was just like, gloves down, like punch, throw Pokeballs at each other kind of thing. Just getting straight to the fighting. This guy, he's a talker. That's basically it. If you get to fight him, it's a small miracle. Anywho, his team is actually fairly decent this time. Shocker, I know. So, do take some bit of a precaution when you're fighting him. His party isn't unbeatable, I would say, but it can throw you a bit of a curveball if you're not looking for it. So, if I were you, I'd just play it safe, stick to good typecasting, and you should have really no trouble dealing with him. And really, don't confuse his party for what the Rockets have later, because his party is absolutely no indication of what you're about to run into later in the plot. Like, the Rocket Pokemon are still just as horrible and just as underleveled as they were before, so no need to be alarmed there. Your rival just happens to be slightly better and slightly more prepared in this episode. So, yeah. Just give him a quick once-over and beat up his team. He does have a Meganium, though, which has a lot of HP, but, I mean, if you've got Quilava on your side, you're good to go. You don't need to worry about that. Just burn down the beast, and that's another rival battle in the books. Now, this next part is a bit annoying if you're not quite sure what you're doing. Honestly, I really wasn't quite sure what I was doing either, I will freely admit that. But basically, it's a switch system, and every one of the gates is triggered based on the state of the switches. So there's a bunch of conditions that have to be taken into account. I can't remember exactly what the order was of the switches I'd flipped that I had gotten it to work, but I think if you open up the way to the third switch and make sure all the other switches are turned off, if you turn the switches on in order from 3, 2, 1, it should open the way to the bottom portion of the map, which is where you want to go. If you don't get it to work, just keep switching the order. Whatever you do, don't do the same sequence of switches in a row for the same amount of time. So if your first sequence is 1, 2, 3, don't go back and hit 1 again. Always mix it up and keep switching it, because that's basically the only way you're going to be able to brute force your way into the bottom. I really couldn't figure out the logic puzzle on it, but I'm pretty sure you can find somebody who's probably got this all documented and written out somewhere on the web. That's what Bulbapedia is for. It's a great source. I'll go ahead and put the link in the description for you guys, because I'm pretty sure there's an article on this there somewhere. Someone's probably like, you do this, 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 and this, and then you're good to go. So I'll go ahead and throw a link in there, or you can just follow along with exactly what I did, even though it may have been partially wrong at some points. Technically speaking, if you did follow exactly what I do, it may take you longer, but you will still get there. You will still get there. Now, there really aren't too many trainers in this room. Basically, it's just a giant maze to kind of soak up your time. There's only like 4 trainers total, and then the one rocket grunt who's guarding the front door. But because it took me so long with the rival battle, as well as going through all of the switches, this last room right here is as far as I got in this episode. I managed to get into the next room and fight one trainer, but then I realized that I was sadly out of time. So I will have to go into that in the next episode, which will be up in the next day, and I won't have another long hiatus like I did before. You'll probably noticed that it took me forever to upload episode 25. I was going to upload it Friday like I normally do, but for whatever reason, it just did not come to me. I was just so focused, busy at work. I was just in the zone, and then I'm like, oh crap, it's 5. I gotta leave, and I didn't upload the video. Excuse me. Dang it. So, I didn't upload the video, and then at the whole weekend, literally the whole weekend, I was not home. I was probably home maybe a total of, assuming we're not counting sleeping hours, probably like 3 or 4 hours the entire weekend. I went to the lake with my family from Wisconsin and my family here on Saturday. I went down south into another town in Missouri to play some Magic. Yeah, Magic tournament on Sunday. That took all day. Got back and literally went straight to bed. And then my 4th of July was comprised of waking up early, going to, well, by early, I mean 11 o'clock. That's so terrible. That's not early at all. And then I went to the gym, worked out a little bit because I got to justify all that garbage I'm going to be eating later in the day, right? I went to the gym, stayed home for about 2 hours. I just hung out with my family for a little bit, and then I went to my friend's house to go to the Eat and Blow Stuff Up party. Woohoo! So that was my weekend in a nutshell. And it was pretty good. I gotta tell you, 3-day weekends never really felt this good before. Like, I guess you're kind of used to just having summer vacation over and over again. But man, when you're working, you really treasure a Monday off. It just suddenly, everything just becomes so much better, and you cherish your off time so much more when you're working 40 hours a week. It's not like that part-time job where you can just schedule days off if you need them to, or just, not show up to work and call in sick, like some people do. Yeah, my brother did that so he could go to the lake with us. Shh. But, yeah. So, I had a really good time over the weekend, and I am going to be putting out Pokemon videos on a regular schedule now. I apologize for the time delay there. I really should have put 25 up a long time ago. It just never happened, and I finally got around to doing it today. So, well, it would be today. By the time this is up, it'll be yesterday. I'm trying to think ahead in the future for you guys, so as not to just horribly confuse the heck out of you. Yeah, I'm looking out for you, that's right. Thinking ahead with Maximilian. So, I finally have an Ampharos. Yes! And I gotta tell you, Ampharos is freaking amazing. Maybe a little slow. Yes, that is the ultimate downside of Ampharos, is the fact that it is probably the slowest electric Pokemon ever conceived. But it packs a punch. Oh man, it packs a punch. A Thunder Punch, literally, because as soon as it evolves, it will learn the move Thunder Punch, and trust me, you're going to want to learn it, because not only is its normal attack high, its physical attack, its special attack is also high. So if you land a Thunder Punch on anything that'll typecast well against, then it's a goner. We'll just put it that way. The Pokemon that you're punching is just dead. So Ampharos is awesome. Super stoked to have it in the party, because Flaffy was just kind of like barely cutting it at that point. It's awesome to have an electric type in the party, but unless you have a solid electric move that's more powerful than Thundershock, I mean, what's the point? Unless they're just so significantly underleveled that it doesn't really matter anyway, and you can kill them with some other Pokemon in your party, Like, there's really no point of having an electric Pokemon because the gap in the power of the moves is just so massive. At least it gradually builds on other Pokemon, like on water. You go from Bubble to Water Gun to Surf to Hydro Pump. You got a nice gradual chain in there, so that your moves do get gradually better over time. Whereas electric moves, there's nothing in between. Like, you have Thunder Shock, which is basically a tackle level of power, but it type casts, which is good. But I mean, it's still very weak. And then you go basically straight to Thunder Punch and Thunderbolt, which are quite powerful. But you usually need TMs to learn them, or if they are learned from leveling up, they're usually learned at a fairly high level, which kind of sucks. And Thunder is pretty good too. I mean, Thunder is probably one of the most powerful moves in the game, but its accuracy is just god-awful. Like, I mean, 70% really isn't that bad when you think about it in real life. Like, I mean, 70% is a passing grade in pretty much any class you take, but 70% in the Pokemon move, man, that's just not good enough. If anything's less than 100%, you don't want to be using it. So, I really don't care that much for Thunder. Thunderbolt is awesome because its accuracy is very good and its power level is very good too. Might not be quite as much as Thunder, but then again, if you're typecasting anyway, it really shouldn't make a difference. So that's just my opinion on electric Pokemon, and now that we finally have a solid one in the party, I think it's going to be pretty good, but so far I haven't seen many people vote for Ampharos in the poll, so I'm probably going to have to box him soon. That's going to suck. All you guys want Lugia instead, which is okay. It's okay that you want Lugia instead, but, I mean, come on, it's Amphy. You're going to make me box Amphy. Oh, what am I going to do with myself? I don't know. Pokemon melodrama. Enough of that. So, after this little plot in Goldenrod here, after we finally get through this, which I would imagine it's going to take, well, it's going to take at least one more, obviously, because I didn't finish it here. If I had to guess, I'd probably say I can finish it in the next episode. I'm guessing there, though. It shouldn't take any more than 2. If this takes more than 2, then I'm probably doing something wrong. Either that or I'm taking way too many trips to the Pokemon Center. I'm kind of running out of Hyper Potions here, and I really don't feel like flying over to a city to get them, even though it would take like 10 seconds. But I'm starting to have to make more trips to the Pokemon Center because I'm just running out of items and I really don't want to use them. So, hopefully, I can play this smart and not get my butt kicked just by some random poison Pokemon. I stocked up on some antidotes before I actually went into the second part of this little subplot thing, and I suggest you do that too. Because there are so many Pokemon that know Poison Powder, and Poison Gas, and Sludge, and Acid, and Smog, and it just gets so stupid every time they typecast it and it poisons you. It just, oh, it's so stupid. So stupid. Full heals are better, though, because they do have random Pokemon that can paralyze you for whatever reason, and occasionally maybe a burning Pokemon, maybe, but that's a far stretch. Basically, you're going to want it for poison, because poison gets really, really annoying if you're trying to just plow your way through the subplot and you don't want to take time to go back through that giant maze of switches and the underground and the subway and that entry house all the way back to the Pokemon Center and then go back again. It can be very time-consuming, not to mention annoying. So I would recommend you stock up on items. I'm probably going to do that before I go back down into the dungeon, so to speak, again before the next episode, because I need Hyper Potions really badly. I could also use some full heals too. I think I have at least one in my pocket and a paralyzed heal, and I have a couple of antidotes left, which shouldn't be enough in theory, but you really can't be too careful. So this is the last trainer that we're going to fight in this little part of the subplot. I'll get into the warehouse part of the underground during the next section, and then we have to go back up into the radio tower, and I believe it's free the CEO or whatever his name is, or the director, whatever his name is. We're going to have to free the head honcho. Basically, that's what it comes down to. But this is actually one of the longest Rocket subplots that I can remember ever. Like, usually whenever Rocket was involved in Red and Blue, it took like maybe 10 or 15 minutes to get through the whole thing. Like, they really never got involved in anything. Like Mount Moon, that was nothing. Hardly any kind of Rocket involvement there. There was the one random dude on the Nugget Bridge and the guy who took the Dig TM, which, does that even really count? I really don't think that counts at all. Let's see, what else was there? What else was there in Red? There was that Rocket plot where, they took over that Lavender Town place too, but that didn't take forever either. Like, it was only like 4 trainers. Rocket just had absolutely minimal involvement in Red and Blue, except for the casino. I guess the casino kind of counts, but it was nowhere near as grandiose or extravagant as this, by any means. And I kind of like the fact that this is really nice and extended because it's just a really long, drawn out sequence of events that you have to work really hard to get through. You feel like you're actually fighting an enemy with a decent sized force. So that's what I enjoy most about Pokemon Silver so far. Is the fact that they're involving Rocket more in the storyline. This thing feels like it actually has depth to it. Like, Pokemon was kind of fun, the original Red and Blue, but it was just so lacking in any kind of a storyline or plot. Whereas in Silver Gold, the second generation, as they progressed more in games, they actually gave this a bit more of a storyline, which gave you a bit more of a connection to the game. It actually felt like you were accomplishing something and driving the story forward. That's one of the most enjoyable aspects of an RPG, so I'm glad to see that they implemented it into this game. I'm starting to enjoy it a lot. I'm looking forward to the next episode, but you're just going to have to wait until next time because, alas, the time is gone. See you guys next time.